Hey, what's up, gang? It is the Commander Smiths, and it is Commander Master Precon Upgrades Eldrazi Unbound Edition.
Yes, we are going to take a $20 budget and try and come underneath that bit. I'm taking out 10 cards from here, and just the switched in cards are just coming in under $20. I'm not going to give you a real price because I could be lying. And so, but it's
pretty close. It's right there.
It's pretty close. It's pretty close.
It's very close.
All right.
And then at the very end, we do have the
Mr. Unlimited
section where we will Lowry will be revealing if you have an unlimited budget. Oh, good for you. You can add these cards in there. So Lowry, take it away.
Right.
What is the commander and what does he do?
Commander's the face card of this. It'll be get the button ready, but Zolodoc, Void Gorger.
Oh, that was pretty good, but
there's an H in there, and I don't even know how to do that in English, much less Eldrazi. So 5 and 1 colorless. It is 7/4, and then colorless spells you cast from your hand with mana value 7 or greater have Cascade, which can really get an Eldrazi deck going. I believe I would bet that. Now, one thing that I kind of complained about this deck a little bit is that just because it says colorless in it, it doesn't have to necessarily be an Eldrazi deck. And you'll kind of see some of the cards that are in there. I didn't try and cut any of the new ones just for the sake of playing with new cards.
Right.
But I'd much rather have an Eldrazi deck be kind of like an Eldrazi deck. So there's going to be a lot of creatures that were colorless that I kind of cut out of there for that reasoning. And so going on to the first cut that I want to talk about is Myriad Construct. It's 4 mana, 4/4 with kicker that adds counters on it. So there's a kind of a sub-theme in here of +1/+1 counters because of the other new commander that they have. We're not going to talk about that, but I didn't care about that. I want Eldrazi's that annihilate. And so get rid of that. We don't need it. Getting rid of right underneath there, Scare Tiller. This brings back lands from your graveyard or from your hand into play, but
again, it's an artifact.
They're not going to be in your graveyard like ever, and you have to be drawing a lot of cards to probably properly utilize Scare Tiller. There's nothing that's going to allow it to be tapped, so you got to attack with a 1/4 for 4 mana. It's just going to be too slow in here, in my opinion. So I was going to cut that. Next one is Oblivion Sower, which is a 6 mana Eldrazi. And this is just kind of out there. Again, it's kind of a ramp card, but at 6 mana, it's a bad ramp card.
Yeah,
you don't really have any exiling effects.
Right. Yeah.
You have 1 in Scavenger Grounds in the land base, but that's about it. It's not going to hit anything for you. It's not. This ain't it. All right. Next one that I'm cutting is Ancient Stone Idol. This is at 11 or 12 mana, way down there. Yeah. And it's a creature at 10 mana that can be reduced, so it'll still cascade for you. But again, it's not an Eldrazi. If I'm paying around that type of mana, I want to play some GD Eldrazi.
It's an Eldrazi deck, damn it.
And then the last creature is Metalworker Colossus. Also gets reductions from as many artifacts as you have in play that are non-creatures. Again, just trying to fit in more Eldrazi because that's what I want to be playing with. Moving on to artifacts that I'm going to be cutting. We have Maze Mind Tome. That's at 2 mana, but it's just like scrying. You have to eventually sacrifice it after a couple of turns. Again, there are much better, cheaper ways to do this.
Yeah.
Next one I want to cut is Fire Shrieker, which is equipment that gives double strike to all of those huge creatures. It doesn't matter. They're getting
huge.
chumped.
Yeah.
If you're getting lucky to get one of them through, it ain't going to be the double striking one.
Yeah.
All right. So I suggest
than
trample, or just destroying all the little guys.
Yeah.
Next one's going to be Perilous Vault, which is, I believe it's either 4 or 6 mana, but 4 mana, and then 5 you're tapping it, exiling it, and exiling all non-land permanents. This deck takes a lot to ramp up, and so if you're exiling everything you just got rid of all your work to get there.
Right, and it's not one-sided. You're getting rid of all your stuff. Like if it
Right,
said
you're hitting your stuff.
color, like anything one or more colors, that'd be okay.
Yep.
But
And that'd be in the Mr. Unlimited section with Ugin.
Yeah.
But this is in here specifically for the sliver deck that can go indestructible. I'm sure that's the reason why this is in here.
They put it in this deck to put in the other deck.
Yeah. And then the last one that I want to cut is Cauldron Complete, which is 7 mana. And it's a great card. I love it. You love it. But it's I want Eldrazi again. That's what I want. It's not
Eldrazi,
the same doing it for me, all right?
Eldrazi, gotcha.
So let's go over to the cards that we want to put in. Like I said, this is coming in under $20.
And really quick, you guys can find this list in the video below. So if you want to see the cards we add, you can check that out. But here,
go to our Mox field. That's where it is. You can follow us there. We're doing this kind of stuff whenever we can. We also do a lot of decks. Yeah. Sorry, shouldn't be plugging our shit. All right, first one that we're doing. I want to add in Azor's Gateway. This is the you pay 1, tap it, draw a card, exile a card, and then if you have X amount of cards with different mana costs, which you're going to have a wide range since you have such a wide curve here, you get to flip it over, and for as much life as you have, it will give you that much mana, and
Whoa,
that's a huge ramp card
of any color too. Wow.
And so this ain't going to hit your colorless bits, but it's going to be a huge ramp card for you. It's going to allow you to see more cards with that draw exile. And so sometimes you're just going to have a fat hand of like 7, 8, 9, 10, like having 4 of those in your hand. You don't need all of them. You want probably some game to get up there. So I think there's going to be great card in there to just filter through and have the best cards available. Next one I want to talk about is Conduit of Ruin, 6 mana, 5/5 Eldrazi. When you cast it, you can go search for a colorless card of 7 or greater and put it on top, and then the first creature spell you cast each turn costs 2 less.
Wow,
so it's a bit of a tutor, a bit of ramp in the reduction.
Well, and then you're not only cascading, so when you cast it, so you're actually
what is the
Zolert?
Is that 6 or I think it's 7 or less?
Oh, you're right. It's 7.
7
or greater. 7 or
so,
greater.
Okay, 7. So it doesn't quite hit that cascade, but it allows
you to find that thing.
Yep, 7 mana one to cascade for 5. That's all it'll cost you, and that'll still be great for you.
I like it.
Next one I want to talk about is Cryptic Gateway. It's 5 mana artifact. You can tap 2 untapped Eldrazi to put an Eldrazi into play for free. You're not getting the cascade triggers. You're not going to get some of the casting triggers that Eldrazi do have. Depends on how expensive you want to go. But you're putting 10/10s into play for free.
Yeah.
And that's
always
like
nice.
You can do that instant speed too on other people's turns. I think it's a solid card to have in here, especially if you end up going with a lower curve.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's a great card.
It's a good one.
Next one I want
for higher casting cost tribe type stuff. You know, that's perfect for Eldrazi. I like it.
Kozilek's Channeler, 5/5 for a 4/4 that I'll tap to add 2 colorless mana. I'm very surprised that this is not in there already. But it's just a ramp card. It's an Eldrazi. It'll get you there.
A better equipment than the other one here.
Loxodon Warhammer. This is basically that straight swap for Fire Streaker. Lifelink and Trample is going to do so much more for you than Double Strike. There's, Shadow Sphere is probably the better one that's not in the Mr. Unlimited part, but
you could add it if you wanted.
You can add it if you want. Next one, Pathrazor of Ulamog. This will get you your cascade triggers. It's a 9/9. Annihilator is also really nice removal for you. And so those older Annihilator cheap ones can just go in here if that's what you want, because it doubles as a huge creature and removal. And that's why Annihilator is so great. But Wizards knows that people don't like playing against Annihilator. So if you don't like your friends, put them all in. I promise you. You'll like it. Reckoner Bankbuster is there. It creates a little bit of early game tokens. It'll draw you cards. It kind of adds a treasure later on. Like, it kind of does a lot in the early game where this Eldrazi deck is slow. One of the things that I noticed is there just isn't a lot of draw. And so you want to see more cards in this, in my opinion. And I think this is kind of doing a lot in colorless, because when you're in colorless, you don't have a lot of options. So next one is one of the more expensive bits here, but it's a Scepter of Eternal Glory from the Warhammer decks last year. But it taps for 1 color of any mana, but add 3 mana of any 1 color. Activate only if you control 3 or more lands with the same name. So you're going to have 3 or more wastes. You're going to be able to get 3 mana out of this for 4 for the 4 investment. It's a great card in here. It's just over $5. Next one, Thought-Knot Seer. It's just a cheap Eldrazi. It kind of removes something from the hand, but they get to draw something if Thought-Knot Seer goes away. It's just a cheap Eldrazi in there to try and help out the Cryptic Gateway and a little bit of blocking early game. And the last one I want to talk about, Treasure Map. It's cheap card. At 2 mana. You're scrying. So again, seeing more cards in the earlier game is kind of what you want. You don't want to get stuck with a huge hand. Kind of do, but you don't. You want the ladies to compliment you, but you don't want to overcompensate.
Wah, wah, wah.
And then once you scry a couple times, it gets to flip. You get some treasures, which will help you ramp. And if you're not getting there, you can use those treasures to draw cards. It's doing a lot in this deck, in my opinion, as well.
Got it. All right, so, now we get into the
Mr. Unlimited.
It's like you had 3
the 3 main ones that I want to talk about. There's plenty of colorless cards that are expensive that you can just add in here, but Eldrazi Conscription makes a huge fatty. It's an aura.
Annihilator, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, it's $15. It was in a secret layer. If you bought that, you might have that laying around.
There you go.
Weirdly. All right. Ugin, I think, would be the best add in here because it's just a mass removal that's going to leave your gang around. But the -X, exiling each permanent with colored mana, cost X or less. And just gets rid of all the non-colorless.
Well, and you're mostly,
that's what you want.
Yeah. So your
that's
stuff sticks
great.
around,
And
everybody loses theirs.
Yeah, and Void Winnower is just going up at this point.
Yeah,
it was
of this.
It's doubled in price in the last week or two. So this might keep on going up, but it stops a lot of them even creatures from blocking or being cast. It's a great card to add in here for your Eldrazi deck.
Very nice, dude. I like it. So what was you're right at 20, right?
Right at 20. Right at 20.
Just right at 20. It's right there. All right, cool. All right. Yeah. So I think that'll do it. That's a good deck. That looks good. Is it something you'd want to play? Are you going to build this Eldrazi deck?
I'm not. I'll do the enchantment one and we'll talk about that next.
All right, cool.
But in context, out of context, I don't know. If you enjoyed this video, share, like, sub with the Commander Smiths. We would greatly appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoyed. Bye.